How's the argument strike you all? Reasonable, unreasonable?
Somewhat reasonable. It's not crazy.
No, it's not crazy. What do you see as the biggest disconnect between the evidence and the conclusion?
It has to be true that that's what parents think.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So this explanation, this possible explanation, must be the valid, correct explanation. It's a plausible one, certainly, but they're not necessarily warranted in saying that therefore this must be the case and therefore the university must take this course of action. So you could say, if you were being ungenerous to them, that they were failing to consider alternatives. Or in this case, necessary assumption, we're not saying that they're failing to consider it, we're saying they're simply assuming it or maybe not bothering to explicitly state it. So I think the key here is dismissing alternative possibilities and alternative explanations in favor of the stated one in the stimulus. So that leads us, of course, to our correct answer, which is what? Exactly, yeah. Proposed explanation applies in this case, meaning that there are not other alternatives that may be correct over this one.
The other ones that I lingered on for a second were C and D.
Mm-hmm.
C because it uses a lot of the same language from the conclusion, but it's confusing the sufficient and necessary. That's C. And then D, even if D is true, it doesn't necessarily totally crash the argument. But if A is not true, then your argument sucks. It's a terrible argument.
I would say D also says this is one possible in the stimulus, while this one says no other additional explanations can be given.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think with D, yes, the president didn't say this is the only explanation, just that it's one possible explanation, and then they're saying, of course, that their explanation is correct, but there could be others in conjunction with it. So I think that's exactly right. That D is a bit too strong. He's not saying this is the only explanation, period. Then with C, would it guarantee? They're saying if we want to increase, we need to do this versus this will be sufficient to do this. Yeah, I think you're right.
Did you guys read that question first or the motion first?
That's a great question. I think, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. There are plenty of top scorers on both sides of this debate who feel differently about it. I used to actually read stimulus first back when I was studying, but I've since switched over the years to reading question stem first. I think there's benefits to each way, and I think most times people end up reading both of them twice anyway. They read the first, they read the second, they go back and read it again, so I think it's not that big a deal.